Hello, dear brother. So, after your video on Thursday, I thought about making fun of you for how much your shirt blended into the couch and how much the Midwest winter has made you almost pale enough to blend into the wall behind you. But then I thought, no, you're my brother and I support you. So I'm going to make today's video like this. So in your last video, you asked me what I want to be doing right now in order to live life well. It is an excellent question, and I know you don't want me to delve into, how to live an entire life well, but it's hard not to end up touching on that, even just thinking about the now. But I'll do my best to keep it under 5 minutes. So when I was thinking about this question, I came up with about 4 general themes. Number 1, I want to seek truth, not just opinions that sound and feel good to me, or that fit so nicely into my existing worldview, and to remind others to do the same. Especially in this current climate in this country, advertising and the internet, and advertising on the internet, not to mention cable TV, have made this really hard, even harder than it already was. But it makes sense why they're doing this. Why lead people to the truth when pretty much anything else is so much more lucrative? And we're not out to inform people, we're out to make money. 1, the truth is far more important than opinions that feel good, or that easily paint an us and a them. It also cannot be simplified into a sentence or a phrase that can be printed in impact font on a square photo. It can't be boiled down into a headline. It can't be boiled down into 160 characters. In this current age, everyone is trying so hard to do that, and we end up missing the nuance. It just ends up being really horrible for everyone, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's just we're all too lazy to put in the effort. Also, as part of, I guess it falls under seek truth, is I want to consistently examine my own life, my own choices and behaviors. There's the famous Socrates quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And then promptly thereafter, he was sentenced to death for believing that. So even back then, we weren't too keen on doing this, clearly. How we spend our day-to-day lives is often not at all like what we imagine it is, or that it should be. Stephen Covey? I've never known. Says in the 7 Habits, we focus on the urgent tasks and not the important tasks, because the important tend not to also be urgent. I guess there's a book recommendation, although I'm sure Dad has probably tried to make you read it already. So yeah, seek truth. Number 2, I want to be kind. It sounds trite, I know, but it's really not. I don't think it's really an inherent trait in most of us. It really takes effort, especially when you work in customer service, which I have for all of my professional life. I really think it's important to respect other people's time, because when you boil it down, all we have in the world, in our lives, is our time. And college friends, or now my customers or coworkers, waste my or anybody's time. It bothers me so much more than people think it should, because it's all we have. There are articles on how when you give gifts, you should gift experiences rather than material goods. I think now I really agree with that. I'll put a link to a little thing to read about that. Bringing other people comfort and just being kind really ends up being so much more fulfilling than whatever immediate gratification you get from one-upping somebody else, or just putting other people down, being rude, or being outright cruel. So having said all that for number 2, for number 3, I would have to say I want to spend more time doing things that make me happy, which is something you also said you want to do more of. I think in an effort to be kind. We can focus too much on other people's happiness to the detriment of our own and not spending enough time on taking care of ourselves. For me, one of the things that really makes me happy and gets me into, a flow state is creating art, and I've been spending a lot more time drawing and painting. Here are some of the things I've made recently. I like color. They're fun. Tell me what you think of them. Something I'd really like to do, but is going to require living here long enough to make some more friends first, is making music with other people. Playing music with other people connects you in a way that talking or even like working together on a project toward a common goal doesn't, because your brains have to be so in sync. And lastly, number 4, I want to enjoy delicious food. It's just so good. I just had pancakes with blackberries and chocolate chips in them for breakfast. It was so good. What I really mean by that is pay attention to and rejoice in how lucky you are to have all the comforts and the good things you have. For example, take a look at this picture of my work lunch on Friday that I bought at the cafeteria. I didn't have to make or bring in, and it was relatively cheap, and it was delicious and healthy. Well, the main course anyway, that's a chocolate parfait on the side. I get to have this delicious salad of raw vegetables that I know aren't going to make me sick. I know that they're washed with clean water, and I don't have to make sure all of my vegetables are cooked so that they don't make me sick when I eat them. It also has roast duck on it from the cafeteria at work. I'm not even having to eat like PB&J for lunch. This is amazing. I do want to point out though, and I think both you and I are prone to this, the next logical step your brain might take from counting your blessings is to immediately feel bad that you have all these wonderful things and other people don't. Other people are living in poverty, or they're suffering, or they have to bring their lunch to work and they're making PB&J for themselves every day. But I would argue that we aren't obligated to feel bad that we have all these wonderful things. We're not St. Augustine. And for one thing, our parents worked very hard to give us this nice life. And we worked hard too. But even though we're not obligated to feel bad about the comforts we get, I do think we are obligated to do what we can to improve the lives of others, to reduce the suffering of others. And I'm curious for your take on that, and all of these. Yeah, brother, I'll see you on Thursday. Number 2. What was number 2?